A beautiful circus performer finds herself in a precarious situation after the arrival of a mysterious being severely impacts her once mundane existence. The Earth has been home to a vast array of creatures for millennia before humans existed. Despite the fact that many species flourished and evolved, one entity has yet to develop, lacking a vessel to latch onto as it searches for millennia. As it finally reached Africa, hunters captured its latest vessel, a leopard, after it traveled from several hosts. Merchandise is sold of the animal and human civilization by ship. A truck carries cargo for the circus owner, lawman, into a plot of land in France. Yanka steps on a weight scale and notes the result on the wall of a trailer home. As the truck driver searches for lawman outside the trailer, he catches sight of Yanka. When lawman emerges from the trailer, he confronts the man for spying on his wife. A circus animal reacts to something in the truck, so he asks the driver what he brought him. He says it's an animal. In the cargo truck, lawman and the driver peek in and immediately make a transfer. The shipment contains a new leopard for the circus animal show. Workers are excited to have the new acquisition as they transfer it into their cage. Meanwhile, the driver steals glances at Yanka, who comes out to observe the commotion outside. The driver apologizes to the woman for what happened earlier. He flirts and vies for her attention, while lawman watches them from afar. When Yanka joins her husband, the leopard begins acting strangely, attempting to escape the cage aggressively. Lawman advises everyone to leave the animal alone so it can calm down. Later, the tamer trains 3 tigers for their next performance. When lawman arrives, he admonishes Yanka for being late and pushes her into the performance area. In the middle of practice, one of the tigers jumps over the frightened woman, so she runs away in fear. A few moments later, she shares a passionate kiss with the driver outside the tent. The driver escapes when lawman approaches, leaving Yanka in a compromising position. Later that night, Yanka sleeps in bed while lawman does some accounting. He hears a commotion outside and goes to investigate. Her husband sees her and slaps her. After seeing the woeful tamer, the circus owner learns that the leopard died from something that burst out of its body. The parasitic slug-like creature enters Yanka's trailer roof and slithers towards her bed, where it enters her body. Lawman rounds up his workers upon seeing the grotesque animal remains. As the dog barks at his trailer, Lawman returns inside and finds Yanka sleeping soundly on the bed, undisturbed. The next morning, Yanka throws up in the bathroom. She checks her weight, surprised to see that she has gained over 4 pounds in one day. Later, Yanka heads to the hospital to be examined. In fear for the safety of her child, Yanka packs her clothes and steals Lawman's money. She sees her husband fighting with another circus worker. She caresses her womb, worried about the future. A cab driver tells Lawman about a woman he dropped off in a sketchy part of town a few days later. Upon dropping him off, Lawman enters the destitute building to search for his wife. On the top floor, Lawman finds Yanka in her red robe. He hugs and kisses her, begging her to return home. She holds the knife behind her back and stabs Lawman's abdomen. Unhinged, she asks what she should do. She raises her knife above Lawman, poised to slay him, but Yanka begs someone not to force her to. Her husband is unable to finish the act, so she throws the knife and walks away from him. As Yanka runs and screams in terror, a demonic voice from the woman's womb taunts her to kill her husband. The next morning, Yanka wakes up and drinks water from the rain leaking from the ceiling. As she walks to Lawman, the woman retrieves her red robe. Yanka immediately holds her belly, aware that it's her child's voice, as it speaks and says it needs Lawman's blood. It tells its mother it needs to feed in order to grow, but Yanka refuses to comply. She can't feed the child if she doesn't. Yanka stabs her belly with the fork, but the creature hurts her from within. She falls to the ground, throwing up blood as she crawls towards Lawman's body. Yanka's excruciating pain forces her to drink her deceased husband's blood and slice him up. As soon as Yanka awakens to the sound of chaos, her child warns her that the building is dangerous, and she flees. In an alley, the creature tells Yanka to slit a beggar's throat, so Yanka slowly takes a broken bottle and creeps toward the unsuspecting man. A baby begs Yanka to save her, swearing that she won't be hurt again, so she walks toward the river and jumps into it to drown herself. Yanka sits beside the river, covered in a thick blanket. Her child apologizes and tries to convince her that it isn't a monster by telling her that it thinks and speaks like a human. A truck passes by, and the driver offers her a ride. When they stop at a gas station, the man begins telling Yanka his life story. Yanka's steely exterior is too thick for the driver to break through, so he tells her to change clothes in the gas station while he fuels up. He only wants her out of the car because he already convinced 2 other women to ride in his vehicle. 2 months later, a man named Richard enters a restaurant and gets in line. He leaves Yanka at the gas station and her child remarks about how cruel the world can be. As soon as he reaches the cashier, he asks Rosette, his love, for forgiveness for his infidelity. The man sits at one of the tables when he catches a glimpse of the beautiful Yanka who works in the restaurant, bissing tables. After charming the woman, he asks for cash and gets his lunch free of charge. As Yanka saunters downstairs, the man is enamored with her. When Richard falls to the ground screaming, he is unable to see in the dark. Rosette hears him and asks him what he's doing in the empty dining room downstairs. He lies and claims he was looking for the bathroom. Yanka and the creature express disappointment over missing out on feeding on the clueless man when the couple leave. As Rosette waits outside the restaurant for her lover to pick her up from work, she notices a bloody napkin. The creature tells Yanka to find her next victim in a nearby restaurant. Minutes later, Richard joins her at the table, and her child remarks on how easy it is for them to lure human men. Yanka and the creature were bored by the arrogant, babbling man as he told stories during the meal. As he shows her a picture of his circus days, Richard asks if she has done anything noteworthy. They leave the restaurant and Richard walks Yanka home. She tears up and says she's not done anything notable. He tries to get her to let him in, but Yanka refuses and says she feels ill. The next day, Rosette tries to call Richard, but the man does not answer. She begins to suspect Yanka as she sees the woman descend the stairs into the empty dining area. Yanka wanders the streets that night and spots a potential victim. She follows him into a building and the man asks Yanka why she's been following him. Before Yanka stabs the beguiled man in the neck, the beguiled man makes out with her. To avoid suspicion, she kisses the dying man on the lips and pretends they're in a passionate embrace when people filling out of a nearby door see them. In order to avoid being caught, Yanka runs away, and the man dies. When she reaches her apartment, she sees Richard waiting for her by the stairs. The two spend the night together making love. A cigarette is taken out of Richard's pocket by Yanka the next morning. Having had enough of the creature's authoritarian control over her body, Yanka threatens to stab her stomach with a pair of scissors. The creature admonishes her for smoking while pregnant and orders her to stop. When Richard hears her angry screeches, he interrupts her crazed behavior and enters the kitchen. He expresses his desire for their relationship to continue and even wishes to marry and raise a family with her. Yanka, unhinged, stabs the poor man in the stomach as he screams in agony. Suddenly, Rosette knocks on Yanka's door and demands to see her cheating lover. Yanka lets her in and she enters a dark kitchen. Rosette bangs on the refrigerator door, pleading for Yanka to let her out. Richard, gasping for breath, begs her for help. The terrifying sight compels Rosette to scream in terror. 6 months later, a man hails a taxi cab driven by Yanka. The woman ignores his instructions, determined to chase down her target, a jogger. As the passenger demands Yanka to let him out, she elbows him in the face. Yanka side-switches the jogger before cornering him and violently crushing him with a car. As soon as she gets out of the car, she uses a heavy metal tool to decapitate the victim. As her passenger regains consciousness, he sees the grim scene. In fear, he scrambles to escape, but he is hit by an oncoming truck. After a time, the creature asks its mother if she has developed any affection for him, and the woman confesses to having. Its monstrosity, however, hinders her from fully accepting the child, as she dreams of its terrible birth. Yanka's car breaks down one day, and a helpful man offers to fix it. A woman throws up blood, scaring the mechanic. As he believes she is about to give birth, he stops the taxi and asks the driver to take her to the hospital. While Yanka does not want to go to the hospital, the man assures her she will be there shortly. Yanka escapes, but she faints due to the wheel and crash into a wall. An older woman watches over her as she wakes up on a couch. Yanka chokes the woman with a telephone cord and escapes through the window. Yanka cries and asks the child what's happening to her, and the creature tells her she'll give birth soon. The pregnant woman learns that her child wants to return to the sea after delivery, because it came from there. For millennia, the creature will evolve in the ocean until it eventually becomes able to overtake the world. To complete the creature's manifestation, the child needs more blood and asks its mother to hijack a blood transfusion bus. Yanka uses a toy gun to threaten all doctors and donors, except for one man, and snatches the blood bags, satisfying the creature's hunger. she steals the bus and drives away to take her child to the sea. At the back of the bus, a weakened man sneaks up and grabs Yanka while she's driving, causing the bus to crash. Yanka is soon rescued by ambulance, but the man dies. The medic tries to resuscitate the woman with CPR, but finally stops when he is unable to detect a pulse. Meanwhile, the creature inside her begins to feel the coldness of her body and fears its mother will die. Trying to save Yanka, the creature makes her heart beat again, waking her. She assaults the medic by filling his body with pressurized gas, causing it to explode. Suddenly, the woman's abdomen contracts as she goes into labor, and the ambulance driver stops to investigate. Yanka bashes the driver in with an oxygen tank. Yanka begins pushing the child out and, after her efforts, she finally gives birth to a human child. Later, she steals a minivan from an unsuspecting man who stopped to check the road map. While driving, she asks her child what she must do next, but the child is unable to communicate with her anymore. After running into car trouble in the middle of their journey, Yanka stops at a gas station. As she leaves the child in the car, a passing traveler hears its cries. He approaches the car and sees it through the window. All of a sudden, the monster grabs the traveler and pulls him into the vehicle to devour him. As Yanka hears the man screaming, she immediately returns to the car, but all she finds is the lifeless man and the creature's skin. As Yanka finds a trail of blood leading to a bus filled with soccer players, she begs the driver to let her find the creature in secret. When one of the players wakes up and sees Yanka, he immediately alerts the others to her presence. While she desperately tries to warn them of the dangerous creature, the men harass and touch her inappropriately. Unbeknownst to all the passengers, the creature sneaks up on and attacks the driver. As the driver loses control of the bus, Yanka runs over to confront it and breaks free of his grasp. Then, one of the players notices the vile creatures attached to the driver's head and screams in fear. Creature's final form and the destruction it might cause. Yanka decides to let go of the wheel and face her fate as the bus hits the road sign and explodes, causing panic among the others. Despite surviving the bus crash, the creature finally finds its way back into the ocean the next morning. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to watch more videos like this. Turn on notifications and leave a like.